Have you ever faced a problem that seemed too big to solve? A problem so overwhelming that you felt powerless to do anything about it? In moments like those, most people wait. They wait for someone stronger, smarter, or more powerful to step in and fix the situation. But sometimes real change begins with an ordinary person who finds the courage to take the first step. This is the story of a young boy who proved exactly that. In a small village lived an 11-year-old boy named Veer. Like most children his age, Veer had dreams, hopes, and a curious mind. But unlike many other children, his mornings were not spent playing or enjoying his childhood. Instead, they were spent searching for something most people never have to think twice about: water. For 3 long years, his village had been suffering from a severe drought. The ponds had dried up, the wells had become empty, and every day had become a struggle for survival. As the situation grew worse, many villagers began to lose hope, unaware that the courage of one young boy would soon change everything. Every morning before sunrise, Veer would wake up and walk nearly 3 kilometers with his mother to a neighboring village. A water tanker arrived there each day, and every family was allowed only 2 pots of water. Those 2 pots had to last an entire day. The water was used for drinking, cooking, washing clothes, and every other daily need. Every drop mattered because there was never enough. Life in the village had become difficult. At school, Veer often watched other children drink freely from their water bottles while he carefully rationed every sip. Sometimes the only water available was salty and unpleasant, but he drank it anyway because he had no other choice. What saddened him most was seeing how differently people lived elsewhere. Whenever he came across videos of swimming pools, water parks, or rain dance parties, he couldn't help but think about his village. While others treated water as a source of entertainment, families in his village were struggling to survive with only a few precious liters each day. Then came the hottest summer anyone could remember. The ground cracked under the blazing sun. The air felt heavy and dry. Even the trees seemed exhausted. One morning, the water tanker failed to arrive. The villagers waited. Hours passed, but there was no sign of it. The next day brought the same disappointment. Then another day passed. Soon, 3 days had gone by without a single delivery of water. Fear spread throughout the village. Families began counting every remaining drop. Parents worried about their children. Elderly villagers struggled to endure the heat. Everyone knew they were running out of time. At Veer's house, only 1 small pot of water remained. His mother carefully covered it and placed it in the corner of their home. That night, Veer woke up feeling extremely thirsty. His throat felt dry, and his lips were cracked from the heat. As he looked around the room, his eyes fell on the last pot of water. For a brief moment, he thought about taking a sip. Just 1 sip. No one would know. Slowly, he reached toward the pot. Then he heard a weak voice. "Water." Veer immediately turned around. His mother was lying on her mat with a fever. Her face looked pale, her lips were cracked, and she barely had enough strength to speak. Without thinking twice, Veer picked up the pot and helped her sit up. She drank a little water and slowly regained some strength. Then she handed the pot back to him. "Drink some too, Veer," she said softly. But Veer shook his head. "No, Amma, you need it more than I do." Tears filled her eyes as she looked at her son. At that moment, Veer understood something he would never forget. Water was no longer just a necessity. For his village, it had become the difference between survival and suffering. The next morning, the entire village gathered to discuss what should be done. The village leader stood before the crowd with a worried expression. "We cannot continue like this," he said. "The district collector must know what is happening here." Someone needs to travel to the collector's office and ask for help. The office was nearly 30 kilometers away. The journey would be difficult even under normal circumstances. Under the scorching heat and without enough water, it seemed almost impossible. The crowd fell silent. Everyone understood the seriousness of the situation, yet nobody stepped forward. Some people were afraid. Others believed someone else would volunteer. As Veer looked around, he realized that everyone was waiting for another person to take responsibility, and in that moment, he made a decision. He stood up and said, "I'll go." The crowd turned toward him in surprise. Some villagers laughed. Others tried to discourage him. "You're only a child," one man said. "You'll never make it that far," another added. Perhaps they were right. Perhaps he was too young. Perhaps he would fail. But Veer knew he couldn't stand there and do nothing while his village suffered. If nobody else was willing to try, then he would. The following morning, Veer began his journey. The sun rose quickly, turning the road into a path of heat and dust. Hour after hour, he continued walking. His feet hurt. His legs felt heavy. The heat drained every bit of energy from his body. But each time he thought about stopping, he remembered the people waiting for help. He remembered the empty water pots. He remembered his mother's fever, and so he kept moving forward. After many kilometers, exhaustion finally caught up with him. His vision blurred, his legs gave way, and he collapsed beside the road. As he lay there struggling to move, a truck driver noticed him and stopped. The driver offered him water and asked where he was going. When Veer explained everything, the man listened carefully. Then he smiled and said, "Come on, son. Let's finish this journey together." The driver took Veer to the collector's office and wished him luck before leaving. When Veer arrived, a security guard tried to stop him. But Veer refused to leave. He had come too far to turn back now. Just then, the district collector arrived. She noticed the tired village boy standing at the entrance. His clothes were covered in dust, his face looked exhausted, and his lips were cracked from the heat. Concerned, she walked over and asked, "What happened, son?" The moment she spoke, all the fear and frustration Veer had been carrying finally came out. He told her everything. He spoke about the drought. He spoke about the missing water tanker. He spoke about the families struggling to survive. Most importantly, he spoke about a village that was slowly losing hope. The collector listened carefully. Moved by his determination and courage, she immediately contacted emergency officials and arranged for water tankers to be sent to the village. She also ordered a detailed investigation so that long-term solutions could be implemented. Then she asked Veer to come with her, and together they headed to his village. A short while later, the collector's convoy, followed by water tankers, arrived at the village. The moment the tankers entered, people rushed forward with tears in their eyes. Children smiled. Parents sighed with relief. Families filled their pots and buckets with fresh water. For the first time in days, hope returned to the village. When the villagers realized it was Veer who had brought help, they surrounded him with gratitude and celebrated his courage. When Veer reached home, his mother ran toward him and wrapped her arms around him. Holding him tightly, she whispered through her tears, "Today, you gave hope to an entire village." That night, as Veer looked around at the smiling faces of the people he loved, he realized something important. He wasn't the strongest person in the village. He wasn't the smartest. He wasn't the most powerful. He was simply the one who found the courage to take the first step. And sometimes that is all it takes. One person, one act of courage, one decision to move forward when everyone else stands still. Because courage creates change. Friends, every one of us faces challenges in life. Sometimes the challenge is a dream we are afraid to pursue. Sometimes it is a problem we keep avoiding. Sometimes it is a situation that feels far too big for us to handle. In those moments, it is easy to wait. Easy to hope that someone else will solve the problem. Easy to believe that we are too small to make a difference. But remember this, the people who change their lives are not always the strongest, the smartest, or the most talented. They are often the people who find the courage to take the first step when everyone else is standing still. Courage does not mean you are fearless. Courage means moving forward even when fear is standing right in front of you. So whatever challenge you are facing today, do not wait for the perfect moment. Take the first step, because courage creates change.